You are watching UCU Focus TV.
Hi, my name is Okurut-Host and welcome to this edition of the Sports Focus. We shall be discussing matters in line with sport, looking at the local scene, the international scene, some of your transfers that could have made history around the world of sport in Europe. And we shall also be looking at the local scene, some of your transfers nationally. Zaga is out of from Vipers. He has gone as far as Chitara FC. How did he end up in such a club? We shall be looking at the trend and what should local players be able to pick out of that. And so joining me on this segment, on this edition, is Ronald Ocweo, the producer of this show, and of course the founder of Okurut Sport on YouTube. You can check it out. Ronald, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And of course on my right, the head of sport, the senior podcaster, founder of the AMA podcast himself, Micheal Ainomugisha. A big one. Good to have you on the show.
Nice to be here.
Of course, we are also joined by our president. She's joining us. She's behind the scenes, Vanessa Majuga, Your Excellency. Thank you for joining us as well. We are glad to have you on this episode. Of course, we'll get right started. I would like us to start with the recently concluded FUFA League, FUFA TV League. We've just seen the final start between Kira College Butiki and SMAC. That ended in a 2-1 loss for Butiki. But they scored the goal first, 3 minutes later conceded, and the winning goal came at the 90th minute. Ronald, I'd like to start with you. What was missed, and what should be the lessons that should be picked up from that game?
Well, to start with SMAC, I think SMAC actually had a decent tournament, starting from the first game against Budo, but they conceded their first goal of the competition somewhere in the knockout stages against Ginger College. That was actually the first time they conceded a goal. And generally, defensively, they've been very good. SMAC has been good defensively. Players like Kazire, there's a young defender called Kazire, who has been very phenomenal. But my takeaway from that game of the FUFA TV Cup generally is that I think SMAC wanted to really make a name for themselves. Like, you know, in the National Rugby Championship, they were all beaten in the finals of under 15, under is it 19 and under 17. They were beaten by the other schools, Namilyango College and Anna Mixed. But I think now they use the FUFA TV Cup to try to resurface again. You know, I think they put more energy into the football. You know, if you look at players like Jimmy Ambayo, Griffin Mwesigw, who actually made around 3 goals in the tournament. You know, he has been very consistent, scoring right from group stages until the final. You know, he scored that last minute winner.
90-minute winner.
Yeah, that was Griffin Mwesigw there for you. Yeah, and generally, I think this FUFA TV Cup has enlightened new talent. If you look at Kira College Butiki, we have Gift Fred Mutalia, the top scorer, who had 7 goals in 4 matches. True. Yeah, I think this platform has been really good for him. He has showcased his talent, and I think he's viable for any transfer locally right now. You know, he can actually join any under 17 of a Uganda Premier League side. Now he's ready for that. And the initial aim or theme of this tournament was to, you know, give those traditional schools the platform to showcase and things like that. You know, they have not been very common in the Coca-Cola and things like that. But the first edition, it has been relatively competitive, not very competitive. True. If you look at the group stages, schools like King's College, Budo, Kings like Namilyango College, they weren't on top of their games. True. Yeah, but St. Mary's College, Kisubi, Kira College, Butiki, and Amengo SS, they tried to push. You know, they came into the tournament sort of with some dominance. But I expect that the next editions will be more competitive, even because it will involve schools like maybe Ntare, schools from northern side, West Nile, Teso College, those schools. I think it's going to be more competitive because Teso College it has been a performer in Coca-Cola. So I think it's going to be more competitive when it's broadened.
All right, before I come to Michael, Gift Fred, the top scorer, the petition boy. We see players in the local scene struggling to score goals. Top scorers ending the season with 13 goals in over 25 matches. If you'd recommend a club for Gift Fred locally, what would that be?
Well, for Gift Fred, if I would recommend, I will advise him to join KCC. Why? Because KCC has an history of promoting and encouraging younger players. If you look at the history, people like Julius Poloto, they came from school straight. Rogers Mato, Alan Okello, people like Magambo, Mustafa Kiza, they all came from the lower ranks into the senior team. So if I'm to advise Gift Fred Mutalia, I think I would tell him to join KCC.
All right, Mike, I'd like to come to you. We saw this, the Uganda Cranes, the ladies team, doing justice to Ugandans at the Philip Omondi Stadium. 3-1 it was against Tanzania. Where did they go right, and where should they pick up from going ahead?
Yeah, like previously, in the last edition of the Sports Focus, I told you that it would end 3-1, and it actually ended 3-1. Not a prophet, because I really trust in the girls. For Crescent Cranes to come and show a 3-1 win against the Tanzanian ladies,
Trigger Stars.
Yeah, the Trigger Stars. It is not by surprise to be, and they should actually put up such a fight when they go to Rwanda over the week. And another thing I learned from that, I saw from that game is that the ladies team can actually perform regardless of what's there. Because if you look at the national team for the men, even when they have fans, even when they are away, even when they are struggling, But if they can come win 3-1 at home, it's been a while you see Uganda Cranes winning the 3-1, and for the female team, which is Crescent Cranes, winning 3-1, it gives the fans the courage to where to choose to support. Like I told you, previously I told you, me, I'm supporting the female teams. I'm supporting the female teams. If Rwanda was maybe my neighbor, I would go to Rwanda and watch that game. But it's quite fun, and I won't be able to watch it. But I'm behind the girls.
All right. Going to the men's football, there has been a recent development with Zaga. Zaga was a player, very promising player back at his time at Vipers, right from Chitende. Ronald, very familiar. And now we are seeing him going as far as Chitara FC. And many people are putting this, rumoring this to be with his drug record. He's been an abuser of drugs, and now he's going as far as Chitara FC. This is not to undermine Chitara FC, but Vipers is at the prime of Ugandan football. True. So what word would you give for local players? We've seen even players internationally falling out in their careers because of drug misuse, and you see what has happened with Greenwood and the scandal he had with his girlfriend. So a bit of words of discipline for players. What are the red lines that they shouldn't cross?
Well, Frank Mwesigw Zaga, as is known, back in 2015-16, I think that's where people started to know about Frank Mwesigw because of the Coca-Cola. Then he was at and he was in that that school competition between Chibulies and Chitende. At that time he was actually competing with Alan Okello, and some people actually predicted that he was going to be a better player. True. But there's one thing that I realized on the course of those years. One thing is focus. Sometimes when you're a young player and you're breaking into the system, you're coming out into the light, sometimes there's that, I don't know if I can call it pride, or sometimes, when people tell you that you are the prospect that the country is looking for, sometimes you inherit a pride that's not necessary sometimes. So I think for Zaga, basically, he has been focused. He chose not to focus so much on his career, and he was doing other things behind the scenes, and that was a big problem for him. If you look at players like Alan Okello, this boy has been very focused actually. If you look at the way he has been doing things at KCC, in terms of football,
his delivery.
Focus doesn't come like by the way you play on pitch sometimes. It comes by the way you stay behind the scenes. How are you off the pitch? You get? That's focus. So for Zaga, for Frank Mwesigw, there are instances where he wasn't playing for Vipers. He was sent on loan to Police FC, where I thought he should have improved. True. Because of the loan spell. But because of some reasons, he still he didn't manage to make a name that side, so he had to come back. When his loan got done, he had to return to his parent club, Vipers. And still at Vipers, there's a problem of game time generally.
Yeah.
He hasn't
The
been
level of
getting the playing
competition.
competition, and that competition only comes when, at Vipers, it's like the management is so much into results. They don't know how you're going to do it. If they do training today on pitch, maybe they expect that you as a player, you go and do your personal training somewhere again, So if you're not delivering, there's no room for you that side.
Yeah.
So for Frank Mwesigw, generally, his performance weren't rhyming to the ranks of the club. That's why he, for the most of the time, spent them on the bench. And in football, you cannot be a player on bench for a long time. Remember, there are two things running: your contract and your age.
True.
So for Frank Mwesigw, generally, the contract ran out of him because he was not getting the playing time. He's not getting playing time.
Maybe another thing on Frank Zaga. Playing in 2014 under Cubs, Micheal was the coach by then. To me, he was a star, because if you look at Mohamed Shaban, he was in the same team that the Cubs that went to Zambia under Micheal, and coming to Vipers, where he has been mentored from St. Mary's Chitende and failing to perform with all the time, the patience they have trusted with the guy from way back in 2014 up to now, and he has failed to perform as expected. There was no compromise that he had to leave.
Alright, one more thing just before my producer has indicated that we need to move on to the next segment, but I'd like us to talk about our national hero, Degea. Degea earlier this week indicated that he would want to debut in a marathon this year, and he was advised by the legend Stephen Kiprotich when he was getting into his career that he needed to do something like 5,000 and 10,000 meters. But now he wants to go to the marathon, and last time we were out for Olympics, Kiprotich actually slipped out of the race before 18 kilometers actually. So
Wait.
what advice do you think it would be wise for Degea to move out at this point, or should he stay focused to what he's already good at? Because I don't think there's anyone who can beat him out in 5,000 and 10,000 meters. Let's start with you.
For Degea joining marathon, if he is capable of doing it and can perform, he has to first do trials, because these things are not for just jumping in. I've never run that fast and that long, but I believe every player is measured. If it is measurement according to how they can run. For Kiprotich, that was his time, 2012 at London Olympics. It has been long. He's old. He's gained money. He's gained weight. Lots of, lots of ranks. He can't perform at the top of his level, as he's the advisor of Degea. Degea should not rush. To me, he should not rush.
Ronald, in a minute.
Oh, I think these athletes are tricky sometimes. And by the time Degea chooses to go for marathon, he probably would have been, I don't know, I would call it fatigued of the track races. So because sometimes there are two things. First, Degea might be wanting to try his new lap, and then two, probably maybe he feels like he has won enough of the track races. You get? So I think generally, as Michael said earlier, I think Degea needs to try it somewhere this side of it. They have there's that Terriet high altitude training center. But I think in Kapchora, I don't know, but I think this guy Degea should actually first try a marathon this side, a local marathon
before he can go to represent the country.
Yeah, in terms of training, it will be a marathon. But in terms of training, you get, so he times himself. I know he does that in training, but then he should have good prior preparations for this tournament. Because you imagine going for a marathon, you Degea, and you stop on the way.
Yeah,
like stop somewhere on the way. God forbid that wouldn't happen with Degea, with his experience in the past. But I think he should try his luck, because there's people that have moved. Usain Bolt back in the days used to do 100 meters. But when he stretched to 200 meters, it was even actually 200 meters is Usain Bolt's best, because 100 meters you would have that very close range of lead. True. But 200 meters, this guy actually sprints and gives you guys the yards.
True. But he gives them the space.
Yeah, I think Degea should try his luck. Trial and error. He should try his luck and we'll see what
Alright,
happens here.
that brings us to the end of the first segment of Sports Focus, but when we return, we'll be going into the international scene, some of the transfers that have made headlines. The hashtag on our Twitter platform is @SportsFocus. Do write to us. Your comments are highly appreciated.
Watching UCU Focus TV.
Welcome back to the second edition of Sports Focus. Of course, the hashtag is Sports on Focus. Do send in your comments, they are much appreciated. There's a lot that's going on around in the world of international sport. If we are to discuss and digest it all, you might spend the entire night here. But we're just going to pick a few tips that you can stay with. We're going to look at David Degea leaving Manchester United, of course, something that many Manchester United fans are struggling to reckon with. But we're going to look at the substitute, Andre Onana. What does he bring to Manchester United? Of course, a few projects in Bayern, something is cooking up, Tottenham, Liverpool, wherever we may be able to go to. You're welcome. Paul Mwesigw, a seasoned reporter here at UCU Focus TV, joins us for this segment. And I'm still with Micheal and Ronald. You're all welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Paul, I'd start with you. When you look at Manchester United and Degea, first of all, how they reached the conclusion that Degea needs to leave, and ending up with Andre Onana, do you think that he brings the impact that Manchester United was missing from Degea?
Okay, what I can say, David Degea is a good keeper, but since we like modern football and football is growing, Andre Onana is the best option. We have nothing to do but to just let him go.
You said best option. I'm thinking there are a number of goalkeepers out there who have diving hands. People like you could think of Jean Oblak.
Yeah.
Yes. Would Black be a better option?
Yes, he's a better option, but he's an injury prone. Onana has developed his passing game. He's well confident with passing and moving front forward, better than the likes of David Degea, who likes staying at the back.
Yeah, true.
So it fits do you think that fits the kind of play that Manchester United does? Because because a playing goalkeeper is deserving for a team that does attacking football. Yes. Because you have like a fifth defender at the back if you have four defenders. But you look at Manchester United's kind of game, it's like tic-tac football, counter-attack and running. Do you think it will be safe for Onana?
It will kind of be safe for Onana, because that's the way Ten Hag wants us to play. Though he has few blunders, but we have to go with the trend that has come in. Modern football is trending. Everyone is using it. The likes of Guardiola, Arteta, the likes of Dizabi, the Brighton coach, the way he progresses his football from the back, yes, that's the way football is moving nowadays.
Alright, Ronald, I'd like to come to you briefly. There's something big cooking up at Bayern. Harry Kane and Kyle Walker have already been linked. Actually, Thomas Tuchel last week was at Harry Kane's home in London to discuss personal terms with him. We don't know how far that will go. And then Kyle Walker leaving from Manchester City. First of all, do you think that Manchester City has reached a point where they are no longer seeing the good in the players that they have? Because when they rumored Cancelo out of Man City, very quickly Bayern came in for him, and I think he has had a fairly good campaign. And again, they want to let Kyle Walker go. Do you think Pep is in his right mind leaving these players to go?
Well,
Gundogan also to mention.
Yeah, it's a bit questionable how these players are living, especially Gundogan, the way he left for Bayern, having done all the work he did for Manchester City, winning the treble, his leadership on pitch, things like that. I think it's a bit questionable. Personally, I would recall last season when every time Gundogan gets substituted, like they wouldn't greet each other with the coach.
Yeah.
He would pass his own way, the coach stands the other side. There was some message in that as well. So I think Gundogan leaving, these are professional players. It's not somebody you're bringing to, you're giving them a contract and you think you're going to pamper them to stay. No, these are professional players. When the relationship issues are not in line, somebody will choose to leave. You get, even if he's having all that he needs, he will look for a better place. It's always about the peace of mind. You get, and Kyle Walker leaving, I think I will generally try to zero that to age, the age factor. Probably Guardiola is looking for a younger option. Last season actually Manchester City was playing a 3-2-4, is it?
Yeah.
3-2-4-1, something like that. And Kyle Walker many a times didn't feature in that formation. They've opted to use Akanji on that. When you're using the three defenders, use Akanji on that right flank. So that's one of the factors that might pave way for Kyle Walker to leave. Because remember, as we talk right now, Man City is it's rumored that they're advancing with Rasenball Sport Leipzig to sign Josko, the Croatian centre-back, Josko Vadio. So if Man City brings in Josko Vadio on top of a Kyle Walker who runs on that flank, I think it's going to be how will I call it? It's going to be a surplus in the team. You get? Because if Akanji is used on that right flank, there's no need of Kyle Walker already. Because now the midfield is compact, and Walker doesn't play midfield either. He plays the right side, and he's edging on top of that. Edge, misplacement of positions. Now those are the factors that will lead Kyle Walker out of Man City as we talk.
What does that do for a certain Bayern Munich team? Let's just assume that those transfers do happen. Kyle Walker to Bayern, he meets Cancelo there, provided the loan move of Cancelo does not end. What does it add to Bayern Munich, which is already, you saw how they struggled last season towards the end, especially struggling with Dortmund. What does it add to them?
Well, for Cancelo, first of all, Bayern didn't give him a contract. Okay, or haven't given him a contract because his loan deal ended, and as we speak right now, Joao Cancelo is a Manchester City player. Yeah. So, if was it in January when Arsenal was linked to him? But he went for Bayern, is it? But I think Cancelo might end up becoming a Manchester City player if no club signs him, because Bayern Munich actually made it very clear that they are not signing him. They even made a club statement that him and Dali Blind, who has actually joined Girona in Italy. In Spain, the La Liga side. So I think, for me, in my perspective, I think there's some element of relationship issues that these players are having with the coach, and that they're not being revealed. Because many times last season, I would watch how these players were behaving with the coach, how they would act around the coach and things like that. You would sniff something or two, because imagine Walker being left on the bench in the Champions League final, and they even tried. There's a time where they wanted to bring him on pitch, and I think I don't know, Akanji was doing too well on pitch, something like that. That he just had to go back and sit. You get? So such scenarios speak a lot. Like, you used to be the top guy, now you're the second runner. Somebody has replaced you eventually, Akanji just came last season and he has been dominant for Manchester City. So that tells you a lot, because I think Guardiola now is going to start using a 3-formation sort of defense, which has Akanji already there, and the fact that he's trying to get Vadio from Leipzig, it's going to make things more worse for people like Kyle Walker. You get? They're going to redeem surplus and they have to move somewhere else. And I don't know why he's choosing to go to Bayern. Probably because it's only Bayern giving him the contract. But I would expect him to come to Premier League clubs, if not join rivals like Manchester United. Why not? Because in Manchester United they've been having issues with the right back position. Especially the Diogo Dalot is not very consistent. Then Aaron Wan-Bissaka also, he also has some bits of ups and downs. So I don't know why Man United should have, capitulated on that opportunity like that and gotten the guy.
Michael, I'd like to come to you very swiftly. I would like to make it plain enough. If you look at the transfers that have happened currently, aside from that we've talked about, I want you to choose for me 3 top-tier transfers that you think are going to cause a change across Europe. 3 of your top-tier transfers.
Jude Bellingham, without a doubt, to Madrid. Is a good signing. He comes at a time when Toni Kroos is in the last days of his playing time at Real Madrid. Of course, Modric. And Adagala, who comes from Fenerbahce to join the Real Madrid. He's a young player. He won't be rushed to start, of course, in number 10, which he plays best. He was playing very well in the European qualifiers. He's a good transfer for Real Madrid. Kylian Mbappe's saga is so much in PSG, I don't know where he's ending because he says he doesn't want to sign another contract. The team says want to sell him before he can actually go on free. Yeah. But the asking amount is too much. Asking £200 million for someone who has 1 year remaining on his contract. It is too much. I suspect he goes to Real Madrid like he previously wanted to. Then when it comes to United, the Onana deal should be finalized to stop the rumor about him coming to United. Like Paul said previously about David Degea, who just been released at Man United. When Onana comes to United, it will be a good signing. Chelsea is now at a time when they are releasing players. Chelsea should sign a striker. Well, Director-Marvin, I was talking with Ronald before we came for the show. Director-Marvin had just been signed on loan in Germany.
Look,
Union Berlin.
There's this discomfort Harry Kane has at Tottenham. Yeah. And by the time Pochettino left Tottenham, he was in good talking terms with his coach. Yeah. Don't you think Chelsea should try to capitalize on that to pick Harry Kane from Tottenham before Bayern does something? For Harry Kane,
the issue is about the boss. Danny Levy is not ready to sell. Not ready to sell their best player for the previous 10 years, if I can say. He's not ready to sell, and when you see other competitors in the race to sign Harry Kane, Bayern Munich and Chelsea. Chelsea is at a time where he's trying to balance the FFP books. They can't be able to sign someone like 80, the asking price that could be. And Harry Kane, the perfect destination would be Bayern or Real Madrid. But there's that possibility of him wanting to stay in the Premier League to compete for the all-time top scorer of the Premier League.
All right, before we close the show, I have just one question for you people. I would like us to talk about Asensio and Mbappe. Yeah. Mbappe, of course, currently, we all know discussions are not yet clear. We're waiting still for the prophet Fabrizio Romano to tell us what happened. But
just call him a prophet.
Yeah. But you look at PSG and you can't tell where they are going. Do you think, first of all, Asensio made the right decision to head to PSG? And Madrid, do you think Madrid made the right decision in letting him out? Madrid, did they make the right decision in letting him out? Did he make the right decision heading to PSG? All of you, just in under a minute.
What I think about Asensio, since he's a Spaniard and Luis Enrique has confirmed that he's going to coach PSG, I think he's
actually their coach right now.
He's more flexible with the way he plays, like the way he used to play at Spain. So he's going to be a good addition to PSG because the coach will favor him because he's Spaniard.
Well, I think I would add on what Paul said. Basically, that move has been imminent because of the coach. True. Coach is from Spain, the player is Spanish. In the national team, he actually is a starter. For Luis, he was a starter during Luis Enrique's time. So he's going to be guaranteed a starting position at PSG, unlike at Real Madrid when he was more of a bench warmer. So basically, Asensio has moved to PSG to get more game time.
Michael?
To me, I would not disagree with the two panelists. If you look at previous World Cup, Real Madrid players that were in the squad, Asensio was at a pecking order, like he was starting. And there could be leadership of Luis Enrique. And if he goes to PSG, it is confirmed already he's a coach of PSG. It means that it will be like how it was previously. Then to Madrid, you've seen they have signed Bellingham, Ada, Gala from Fenerbahce. They already have Ceballos who has renewed the contract. Lucas Vazquez is not going. They already have Camavinga, they have Tchouameni, they have Toni Kroos, they have Valverde. They have a lot of players in the team. So if the contract is done, you see PSG is coming to give you a sign-on fee, it is a good deal for him. Yeah. Leaving Real Madrid, it's a good signing for PSG. And PSG is shifting from this system of having a player they are relying on. They have suffered a lot with relying on Kylian Mbappe. He's not sure of whether he's going to stay, you know. So
actually, the former director actually came out to say that.
Leonardo, yeah.
Yeah, that PSG existed before Mbappe.
True.
So they will let.
I saw that tweet. It was quite a big.
And he was like, he has been there for 6 seasons, and in the 6 seasons,
there are different
clubs have won 5 Champions Leagues, and neither of them had Mbappe.
True.
So you can actually win without Mbappe.
Exactly.
That was his statement.
For me, what I have to say about Mbappe is that he's more money-minded, and right now he's just playing around.
But he deserves the money. Mbappe, I mean, you look at it.
If he wants the money, maybe he can go to Saudi Arabia.
Yes, in the current situation, he's just playing around, waiting. He's not decisive.
£550,000 too much for a player like Mbappe to ask for.
No, it is not. Yeah. But he's not decisive.
And then one thing with Mbappe, I think Mbappe has come to realize that he has been a project.
True.
Yeah, you know.
But we all knew from where.
Yeah, he has been a project for the rap owners of PSG. So I think now he wants to go where he can contemplate on silverware and things like that. True. Yeah.
Alright, that's all we had time for in this edition of the Sports Focus Show. Many thanks, gentlemen, for joining me on this edition. Of course, do head over to our Twitter space and just tweet with the hashtag Focus on Sports. Do send us your comments. One of our reporters will be sure to reply you. We are very excited to have your comments. This show will return to you next week, but don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this link with anyone who loves sports. I mean, it's always good to have you on our audience platforms. Thanks again for joining us on this edition. Many thanks to our president, Vanessa Madrega. She stayed with us throughout to the end of this segment.
Was behind the camera.
Yeah, we are so grateful. To my producer and the entire crew that stayed up, and to you, our viewers that stayed up all this time watching the show, we do appreciate. Have yourselves a lovely weekend.